Hey everyone! Today we're tackling one of the wildest questions in science. What is consciousness? You know that thing you're using right now to watch this video and judge whether you should have watched cat videos instead? We're diving into Integrated Information Theory, or IIT, which is basically a scientist's attempt to explain why you are aware of existing, but your toaster probably isn't. And yes, I said probably because this theory gets weird. Fair warning, we're about to discuss something that makes rocket science look like tic-tac-toe. But don't worry, I'll break it down so even your unconscious toaster could understand it. If it could understand things, which it can't. Probably. Let's go. First, let's talk about the problem. Consciousness is that thing where you're not just processing information, you're experiencing it. When you bite into pizza, you don't just register food detected like a robot. You experience the taste, the texture, the joy, maybe some guilt about it being your third slice. Scientists call this the hard problem of consciousness. We can explain how your brain processes information, but why does it feel like something to be you? Why is there an inner movie playing in your head? This has stumped philosophers and scientists for centuries. It's like trying to explain why a joke is funny. Once you break it down too much, you lose the magic. Except in this case, we're trying to find the magic without losing it. Enter Giulio Tononi, an Italian neuroscientist who in the early 2000s said, "Hold my espresso, I've got this." Tononi's integrated information theory says consciousness isn't about where you process information, your brain, a computer, whatever. It's about how you process it. Here's the key insight in 3 parts. Information. Your system has to be able to be in many different states. Like, your brain can think about pizza, cats, taxes, or existential dread. A light switch? It's just on or off. Not much going on there consciousness-wise. Integration. This is the big one. Your brain doesn't just process information in separate, isolated chunks. Everything connects to everything else. When you see a red apple, you're not just processing red in one spot and apple in another. Your whole brain integrates this into one unified experience. Red apple. It's like the difference between a group chat where everyone's having one conversation versus everyone DMing separately about different things. Irreducibility. The fancy word that means the whole is more than the sum of its parts. You can't break consciousness down into smaller pieces that still have consciousness. It's all or nothing, baby. Tononi even created a math formula for this. He calls the amount of integrated information phi. High phi? Congratulations, you're probably conscious. Low phi? You might be a thermostat. Now here's where things get absolutely bonkers. Panpsychism alert. IIT suggests that consciousness isn't just an on-off switch. It's a spectrum. Anything that integrates information has some level of consciousness. Your brain? High consciousness. Your phone? Maybe a tiny microscopic amount. A single atom? Probably the tiniest smidge imaginable. Before you start apologizing to your toaster, understand. The theory says these things might have consciousness, but it would be so simple and so different from ours that it's basically nothing. It's like comparing the Pacific Ocean to a single drop of water. Technically, both are water, but come on. Okay, so is IIT the answer to consciousness? Well, maybe. The scientific community is divided. The fans say, this is the first theory that actually defines consciousness mathematically. We can test it. It makes predictions. The critics say, hold up, you're telling me my thermostat might be conscious? And you can't even really measure phi in a real brain because the calculations are impossibly complex? Sounds sus. There's also a big practical problem. Actually calculating phi for something as complex as a human brain would require more computing power than exists in the universe. It's like having a recipe that starts with, first, create a new universe. And some philosophers argue that IIT confuses correlation with causation. Just because integrated information and consciousness appear together doesn't mean one causes the other. That's like saying roosters cause the sunrise because they always crow before it happens. Plus, there's the zombie problem. Could something have high phi but not be conscious? IIT says no, but proving that is tricky. So why should you care about this brain-melting theory? IIT could help us measure consciousness in patients who are in comas or vegetative states. Imagine being able to tell if someone's still in there by measuring their phi. That's literally life-changing. If we ever figure out whether AI can be truly conscious, we'll need theories like IIT. Because if your robot butler is actually experiencing suffering, we've got some serious ethical problems. At the end of the day, consciousness is what makes us us. Understanding it means understanding the most fundamental aspect of human existence. No biggie. Philosophically, IIT forces us to reconsider what consciousness even is. Maybe it's not this special magical human thing. Maybe it's a fundamental property of the universe, like mass or energy. That's pretty wild. So there you have it, integrated information theory. The idea that consciousness is about integration, not location, and that the universe might be way more awake than we thought, just in ways we can barely imagine. Whether IIT is right or wrong, it's pushing science into territory that was pure philosophy just decades ago. And that is pretty cool. What do you think? Is consciousness just integrated information, or is there something more? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed having your mind bent into a pretzel, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, you beautiful, highly integrated conscious beings.